What is up, everybody? Some idiot with a wrench, back at it again. Today, we're taking at least some of this junk off of here. I'm still hesitant to take the heads off because I'm a big old scaredy cat, I guess. Maybe, we'll see how today goes. Here are the new ones that I painted last video, and they came out looking sharp. Super fucking sharp. Looking way better than I thought they would. And then I had another idea. Dangerous, I know. Can't bolt those gorgeous new red-orange headers onto a block that looks this old and grimy and just dirty. Like, it's got this really lovely caked on layer of like grease and dead dino bones and all other kinds of crap. Now, because I'm doing a cam, the timing case is going to come off. Same with what the word for this escapes me right now, but it's coming off. You can tell I'm a professional. So I'm thinking today I might get some degreaser and a little whiz wheel, try and get as much gunk off the front of the motor as possible, while all of the very vulnerable passages, except for maybe the water pump, inlet and outlet are where the little tape is on the front. Those are visible, but might just clean the rest of that up and throw some new paint on the front of the block itself. I'm going to repaint that timing case while it's out too. So I think that's step number one. And then step number two is going to be getting the last of the electrodigitals off of the top. I'm going to draw a diagram for how this distributor is set up, for like what wire goes where, as well as my positive and my negative leads off of the coil, because I have a feeling that's going to be important when I go to put the EFI system on, or not EFI, HEI. There we go. I'm not going fuel injected. So I'm gonna get started on all of that. It's kind of just gonna be a bit of a chaotic afternoon of small jobs. I got home from work, it's kind of late in the afternoon, and I wanted to be somewhat productive, but I think actually removing the heads is gonna be a weekend project. We'll see though. We'll see how motivated I get, how long the light lasts. Anyway, there's nothing to it but to do it. All right, so we've been very productive here this afternoon. Got the intake off and labeled. Some guy somewhere needs it, right? And I'm not gonna lose all the bolts and just throw it in the trash. This is one of the things that's gonna get sold on Facebook, probably for dirt cheap. Again, if you live in the Pensacola area, hit me up. Now, this is what my block looks like. Currently, I'm working on getting all of my rocker arms and push rods pulled. Saturday, I'm taking the heads out. I'm not messing with that tonight. But the intake was a lot easier than I thought. The bolts were like finger tight, which is probably not like the way they're supposed to be, but I don't know, it ran good. It ran the way that it was supposed to. And I feel a lot less shitty about the paint job on my replacement heads after I saw some of this going on here on these heads. Back there, and up here, right? At first I thought it was RTV or something, but it's the same orange as the rest of the block. And this thing's sealed up. I didn't have any vacuum leak coming out of the intake, so I am significantly more confident in the paint job I did, which is cool. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but there is still some crud still hanging out on top of the intake, like my throttle cable and the TV cable for the transmission, and like the distributor came out. Here it is. As far as I know, it and the coil are still good. I think the condenser might be bad, but the rest of this setup's good. The points are good and everything. Probably gonna throw it on the shelf. I'm probably gonna have another ratty small block in here at some point that I'm not gonna wanna put like a fancy HEI system or anything in it. So that will get reused. Before I pulled the distributor, I made a nice pretty map of what my distributor cap looked like and where all of the wires ran. We see goes 18436 I cross-checked that with the firing order on the intake and the internet. in that order actually, and everything lines up. Cool. So that's good. I was kind of worried that this engine was going to be like 180 degrees out and some weird shit was going on with the distributor wires. I've seen people talk about that on forums. It's one of the things that crept into my head when I learned that this was a replacement block, right? A replacement motor. But whoever did this motor swap, probably in the 90s, did a fantastic job. Like, it's looks great. Everything's put together the way it's supposed to be. It hasn't fought me at all. Now, what I did do before I pulled that distributor was confirm top dead center. So I pulled the spark plug on number 1, and then I made sure that both of my valves were closed, right? So the rocker arms were all the way up. They were loose. These bolts have been loosened, but I could click these around. So both valves were sealed, which means we were on the compression stroke. And I put my handy dandy screwdriver here in number 1 spark plug hole till I could feel the piston. And then I used El Cheeto here to roll the engine backwards and forwards, and I could feel the piston coming up and coming down, right? And I was feeling for right when it hit TDC. And lo and behold, the mark on my harmonic balancer was pretty much right on the money, right? Off maybe 1/4 of a degree, or that could have been me, right? And then I triple checked that with the rotor before I pulled the rotor out of the intake, that the rotor was pointed at number 1 while we were at top dead center, which it was. Well, pointed at the number 1 spark plug wire. You know what I mean, based on the map I made for the firing order. So it would have been this position right here. Everything came up gravy. Awesome, right? So the ignition system is out, the intake's out. I'm at top dead center for the cam pull, right? So next steps, after I get all the rocker arms out, rocker arms and the push rods, which are also going to get stored. They'll probably become useful at some point in the future. Next step is going to be to get the pulley and the harmonic balancer off. I do not have a balancer puller. I think I'm going to go rent one from O'Reilly's when I go buy parts for that thing. But that needs to come off, and then the timing cover needs to come off. I'm going to paint it so that it looks good. But once that's off, then I have access to the cam and the timing chain. I've got a replacement one that I bought with the cam, and that can go on, and then the heads can get changed. I think I want to leave these heads on until after I get that harmonic balancer pulled, because I don't want the crank moving, and I'm thinking with all the rockers out, all the valves will be closed, which means there will be compression inside the engine, and it'll kind of hopefully help keep that crank from rotating while we're torquing and fucking with it with the harmonic balancer pulley, right? With the puller, trying to get it off. It made sense in my brain. I don't know if like it's actually going to make a difference, but it means 2 things. 1, I get to stop early. I don't have to pull the heads tonight. And 2, it's tomorrow Dalton's problem and not today Dalton's problem, which is my favorite kind of problem. So yeah, that's it. That's pretty much where I'm going to leave it. I wanted to get this shot before I lost light, but that's just the rest of what I'm going to do today, is just pull all my rocker arms and push rods and then get this stored somewhere safely. This is the scary part, right? Like, I've not done this before. I've been consulting with 2 professional mechanics that are close to me, and lots of YouTube videos, lots of Googling. Do not take my words as the words of an expert. Just a fellow amateur idiot, right? Trying to do this the right way. But this is the approach I'm taking. It's actually less scary now that I'm into it than I thought it had been a week or 2 ago. I had like pushed this off like a month or 2 after I'd order all the parts, just because of how intimidated I was of diving into it. But I'm glad I'm moving, and I'm glad I'm keeping this pace up. I've been out here every afternoon after work, whittling away and getting little stuff done, little stuff done, little stuff done. And then this Saturday is going to be the big day where the heads actually get yanked. So I'm excited. I think I've moved past the stage of fear, and I'm into this stage where I'm just excited for it to happen and to be done, and for me to go do sick burnouts. So anyway, rant over. That's what I'm going to call this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that other stuff. And I'll see you next time.